Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for viewing the video and welcome to the Turbo Stallion channel. Today we are here with this game Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it seems like a pretty interesting game. I've played the Microsoft Flight Simulator X before and it was a wonderful game, and now we have a new version of it. This was launched a couple of years back, but still it got all the new features, so I'm pretty excited to look into this game and also to show you guys how this game works. Probably we will explore it together, right? So let's not waste time, guys. This is gonna be the part one on how to fly a particular flight or an aircraft in this game. I'm looking forward to fly a Airbus A320 Neo, which is a pretty generic general aviation aircraft, or you can say a passenger aircraft, operating across the world. Many famous airlines have been using, are still using, or they're using the new version of Airbus A320, which is Neo. And I won't say it's a heavy aircraft, it's a medium aircraft, and the complexity of flying this aircraft is not, too much. It's pretty manageable. So I hope, taking this aircraft as a first travel aircraft for our today's video would not be a problem, right? So as you can see on my screen, we have a couple of options down here. We have world map, we have Paris Charles de Gaulle. It's a campaign, I would say, a mission where you got different missions and you have to do it. The world map is probably an open world scenario. Then you got a couple of flight trainings down here where you can just go and have your own personal training in terms of how to do a takeoff. So if I just go into this, you can see we have a general aviation training and we have an airliner training. General aviation training, probably, yeah, it contains a lot of stuff. It contains the basic controls on cameras, how to manage them during the gameplay, and then how to control the attitudes and instruments clusters, takeoff and level the flights, landing, traffic pattern, first solo flight, navigation, and again the first solo navigation. This sounds pretty interesting, right? And looks pretty cool. So this is what you got in your general aviation training. You can just take one after the another sessions, and you'll be going through all the instructions as per the Microsoft Flight Simulator. In airline training, you have pretty two important training sessions. One is A320 takeoff, and then you have an A320 landing, right? So today we're gonna look at A320 takeoff, right? I don't want to go into this right now because it always shows you, it's already showing you how to do it, but I just want to try something on my own first and see how it's gonna look like, right? So let's get into the world map, and we need to travel, right? All right, cool. Yep. So this has got a globe, an Earth, what we have, and it's pretty cool that they have given all the airport information in a pretty cool way. How exactly the Earth looks like. So guys, right now I'm out of India, and it's almost night, 12 p.m., and that's why this entire region or this entire side is shown is in dark, because it's night already. And when I rotate the Earth towards United States and other Latin countries, it's already daytime. So let's go down here, and I'm gonna select. Okay, so when you scroll towards a particular country, you're able to see a lot of airports. So before that, guys, let me just see if I can reduce the volume of the background music. Just give me a second. Okay, options. I'm gonna go into sound. I'm making the music to 0, maybe a little bit more. All right, just so that the audio is not so black. All right, I think we are good. Apply and save. All right, back to the world map. Now let's select two airports. So right now I'm based out of this location, so I'm just selecting Bangalore as my departure. Then I'm gonna select uh, let's select Chennai as my arrival, right? So I have selected my departure airport, which is VOBL Kempegowda International Airport, Bangalore, and I'm selecting my journey till Chennai, VOMM. It says 145 nautical miles distance, hopefully to cover in 29 minutes. And here on top of your screen you can select couple of options, right? So let me just go here and select the aircraft. So right now it's 7478 Intercontinental is what's been selected. I'm gonna choose A3, and by the way, this is how you're gonna select the aircraft, guys. You have a lot of options down here. I don't see much of commercial uh, major big airlines down here. So you got three: Airbus A320 Neo, you go 7478 Intercontinental, and a 787 Dreamliner. Again, there are no liveries available at this moment. I mean, by default, you won't be getting any liveries, but you can definitely have add-ons installed as your traffic for the flights, right? So I'll be doing a separate video on how to do an add-ons to the Microsoft Simulator, but right now, let's just get started with the basic. So I'm going to select Airbus A320 Neo, which has a maximum cruise speed of 455, maximum altitude of 39,800. So this is very important. We need to look at each aircraft and understand the capabilities of every aircraft what you got. So it's gonna have a maximum altitude capacity of 39,800, endurance of 7 hours, and then range of 3,500 nautical miles, right? So I'm just going to select the particular aircraft, right? So as you can see, it says it has been changed here. Now this is my first airport where I'm going to take the departure from. So right now it shows 27 right is my runway location. I don't want to start my aircraft right away from the runway. I want to start it from a particular gate of the airport. So I just have to come here, click on the drop down, and let's just select a particular gate. I don't see since okay, I don't see much of an options down here. I can see only few gates which are small in size, and then couple of parking with ramp large. So let's go and probably select a parking 9, right? Okay, so I've selected gate parking 9, and then at Chennai airport I'm gonna select a particular gate. So it depends, right? You can select your gate right now, or probably once you land you can request from the ATC tower or the control tower or the Chennai center for your for any other change in the parking, right? So I'm just gonna select a parking 46 ramp medium at Chennai International Airport. Now the interesting part comes down here. Here you can see we have couple of options in terms of how you're going to take this flight, right? How you're going to complete this journey. Are you going for a visual route, which is your direct GPS, or VOR to VOR, and then you have couple of other options called instrument flight readings, right? Like basically you get your instructions from the control tower and you adjust your instruments data accordingly, and then the control tower helps you to navigate through the entire journey. So usually what I do is so there are basically two different classifications here, guys. VFR is basically used for those airport where you literally don't have much of the visibility or not much of the tracking availability. So the pilot has to do a visual approach and visual landing, right? But at the same time, if the airports are pretty huge, they have the IFR facility available, then probably you can go with the IFR. I'm just going to go with an IFR right now because that is comparatively easy to fly a flight, because all the instructions would be provided to you via the tower and you just have to adjust the instrument panel accordingly. So I'm going to select IFR, and there are two different options down here. It's a low altitude airways or a high altitude airways. So as we know, we have selected Airbus A320 Neo, which has a flight altitude maximum ability of 39,000, right? So definitely it can go in high altitudes, and that's the reason I'm going to select in high altitude airways. But at the same time, you also need to look at the distance between two of your airports. So right now it's just a 29 minutes journey, right? With a 145 nautical miles, I would say. I personally feel this is what the distance is all about, but yeah, I'm just guessing it. So I am going to go with low altitude airways. The reason why, because I need enough of time to take a proper land takeoff, cruise, and then immediately the landing is going to happen. So I can't select a high altitude airways. You can, but again, a lot of things to do in a very small journey. So as a beginning, let's go with a low altitude airways, right? So I've selected the low altitude airways. Now, once I do that, you can see it is giving me a clear-cut idea on how my route is going to look like. So I'm going to start from VOBL. My first section would be at BIA, and then my second section would be at Tulna, and my final section would be the VOMM landing. Further you scroll, you can see, if you further scroll towards your airport, you're going to see how are you going to do the landing, right? So you can see here it's gonna come like this, and then you're gonna do a landing at 25. I don't know, I think, yeah, 25. So now let's see if I this, right? Here you go. So now I don't have the complexity because I have selected runway 7, so it is not giving me the complexity of taking a complete turn over here and making a landing from 25, right? So I have selected 7, which is giving me a clear-cut landing site where I don't have to do a major complication activities during my final approach. It would be a pretty neat and clean landing, I would say. So guys, I think this is how you're gonna look and select your flight journey, how it's gonna look like, right? And if you want to make any other kind of changes to your flight route, you can do it. So now if you have logged into your account, then you can also use a live airport activity where you get connected to the server and you can actually view the real-time traffics according to your particular country's flight traffic system, right? That's a very good option, but right now I'm just not using that. Flight conditions, again, when I click on the top right corner, I do have a couple of options down here where I can go with the multiplayer option, air traffic, when I'm using an AI based air traffic, or it's a live traffic, or I'm just making my traffic off. Then I also have the facility to select the weather and time. So I'm just keeping air traffic, I think it's all player, then air traffic as AI. And my weather and time is not alive, it's gonna be based on my presets. Okay, sorry. Now I have the liberty to change my date and time of the routes, right? So let's say I'm gonna make a daytime flight. So let's say maybe 10 o'clock, or yeah, 10 o'clock, February 19, 2024. I'm keeping it as a clear skies, right? No major weather complexities right now, and I think we are good, right? So I'm just closing it, and I think we are good with everything. So let's just hit fly. I must say, this game has got pretty good sceneries, as you can see on this background images. It's really cool. I think it would completely depend on the configuration of your particular computer or laptop what you're using, your game's performance. I'm currently using NVIDIA RTX graphics card, 4 GB with an 8 GB RAM, i5 processor Intel. So I think it should be sufficient for the game, but have a better configuration than this, and I would say the game would be smooth in your particular system. Right, so let's see how much more time it's gonna take to load. Until then, we'll wait. You can also read some of the interesting information running down below the screen. I think related to this particular game, right? It's getting started now. Perfect. All right. This is your airport. Visibility of 74 nautical miles. Time 10. Wind. Okay. Right. All right. Here you go. So on this small window down here, you're gonna see a couple of basic informations about your airport and aircraft, right? And this is really cool. Your aircraft is looking very neat and clean. You have a couple of ground staff and ground equipments around your aircraft. I can see a guy already doing his basic checks, right? Perfect, perfect. So I'm gonna click ready to fly. There you go. There you go. So I'm inside the A320 Neo aircraft, right, guys? And I'm just scrolling through. So you just need to press the right key of your mouse or right button of your mouse and just move your mouse around to view through your cockpit. The cockpit looks really cool, surroundings looks really cool, and then you by default get a VFR map, right? So it shows the major informations about your particular airport, what are the different towers and other facilities available near to your airport. So I'm just going to minimize it for now. You have another interesting window pop down here which says AI control. So let me just explain you how it works. So right now I'm inside this aircraft and I personally feel that I don't want to fly this aircraft at this moment. And let's assume I have a co-pilot who's going to take care of this flight end to end, starting to end. So I'm just going to click on this particular control aircraft option and everything is going to do on its own. So starting from setting up your aircraft for the initial takeoff till your landing, everything will be done automatically, right? And similarly, checklist assist, manage radio commands, everything is under AI control right now. So I'm gonna switch it off for the time being. Let's say checklist assist, I can keep it as on because I don't have a copilot literally with me right now. So let the system assist me with all the checklist completion. Right. Okay. So before that, you can see when you scroll your mouse to the stop arrow, you'll see a couple of options which gets popped up. So first option is your ATC, right? So I'm just going to click on this and I can see my ATC window pops up. If you're using a split screen, guys, you can definitely move these pop-up windows to a different screen so that your main screen is properly clean and visible, right? So right now I am not using a split screen, so I'm just using the same window. I hope that should not be a problem. So you can see radio is off because electrical systems are down. Understood. Then if you come to the second option here, you get to see your different camera, right? So I'm just clicking it again. So you can see cockpit views, couple of camera options, then you go on external view. So the moment you click on external view, it's going to take you to the external. And as you can see, team, I have already installed couple of AI traffics. So I can see two Thai airline flights down there, and I let me check on my left side. Do I have got anything there? So nothing, team. I think I do have one Maldives. I think, yeah, Maldivian Airlines flight, and I think that's it. And then other couple of other small aircrafts, and then there's another aircraft at my back. All right. So this is how the external view gonna look like. I'm just again pressing the right button of my mouse, and I'm just scrolling through it, and literally it's you can just scroll through the external camera. And then you have showcase. I'm pretty not sure about this because I have not explored the different camera options yet, but yeah, I think showcase is where, once you are on the cruising altitude, you can just go to the showcase and see how your flight gonna look like in showcase mode, where the camera gets automatically controlled. You can also have different drone sections where literally a drone is capturing your flight journey. Okay, so we will definitely do a camera section uh, exploration in some time, probably in another part of the video, but let's quickly get into the cockpit now, right? So guys, in the cockpit, I would like to explain you a couple of sections how it's gonna work. So this entire thing what you see on your front, it's called the instrument panel, where you gotta see different options, right? Different buttons, different screens. Then you further go down, you get your another sections where you're gonna control your aircraft throttle, flaps, braking options, your instrument for adjusting your frequencies at airport landing and takeoff, and then again your engine start and off options, speed breaker, parking, and a lot of stuff, right? So we will be going through this one by one, right? And again, if you press Control 1, it's going to show you a zoomed in version of your instrument panel. Then Control 2, your central instrument panel, we're going to adjust your different things. So in the meantime, I'm just going to minimize these windows for you. All right, there you go. So team, as you can see here, let me just go back to Control 1. This is your main instrument where you're going to see your flight's data in terms of altitude, speed, elevation, and the direction of, the stability of your flight. Similarly, another screen, we're going to see your map, where exactly your flight is and how your flight is going to take the route. I'm just giving you a very brief, but when we do the real-time traveling, we will look it into detail. Control 2, it's going to give you the central console or central instrumental panel where you're going to have a couple of options like how to set up the speed, how to do the direction control, how to engage autopilot modes, how to enable auto throttle, and how to adjust your vertical speed, right? And also your altitude. There are a lot of options right down, but I'm just explaining you my understanding on how these instruments work. But please do comment on this video if anything is missed out or anything is not right, which I've explained. Please do comment on the video. And if you have not liked and subscribed to my channel, I know it's a very first video, so I request you to subscribe for more interesting videos and next part of this flight session, right? Okay. Control 3, again, it's going to give you another two windows, which these two windows are going to give you the information about your engine status, how well your engines are working. So right now we are on A320 Neo, so it's going to have two different engines on left and right side respectively. So it's going to give you the engine details, and it's also going to give you details on your landing gear status, right? You can see here it says landing gear, auto brake. If you have set up auto brake for landing, you can just come here and see the status if it's a low, medium, or maximum capability of auto brake what you have selected, and then anti skid options again, right? So that's the screen number 3. Then going to screen number 4 is again where you're gonna select your instrumental readings here, right? So since we have selected the AI controlled assist and manage the radio controls probably, so those will be taken care automatically. You don't have to worry much about it, right? So this is again the same instrumental device which I've been talking about. Going to next is control 7 is where you're going to work out on your speed brake lever, your flaps, your parking brakes, your engine on and off, and other stuff. Similarly, a couple of options to control your cockpit door, but that's not functioning right now. Control 8, you're going to give your overhead instrument panel where you're going to select another couple of options in terms of getting this aircraft started and flying it off. So uh, probably I'm going to start from here. So I don't know if you guys know about it, but usually whenever so basically if you see here, right now this aircraft is in off mode. There's nothing visible. All the instruments are off. So now in order to function, make these instruments function, you need to give them the power supply. So we go to our overhead panel, and then you're gonna see there are two options of doing it. Either you can avail an external power where your flight gets connected to an external power, and that's going to generate the power, and the entire aircraft is going to run. And once the power everything is done, you can switch to the battery mode. Or you can also start up with the battery mode at the very first phase. It's up to you. Probably in a real-time aviation, I think the flight gets external power first, and then once everything is done, then the pilot switch it to the battery mode. So as you can see here, when I zoom in, there's an option called external power. So turn on external power. So I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna click on this. Ooh. So you can see here now my instruments are up. Everything is perfect. Everything is great. Right? Everything looks great, and all my instruments are working fine. Again, I go back. So right now my entire aircraft is running on external power. So you can see if I switch it off, again everything is off. Right? So what I'm gonna do is again I'm gonna switch it on. Then I'm gonna select my batteries. So now that's a little bit tricky, so let's figure it out how we're gonna do it. Yeah, here you go. So I'm just gonna turn on my battery 1 and battery 2, and let's try to switch off the external power. Great. So as you can see here, even though I switched off my external power supply, now the aircraft is working on the battery mode, right? Seatbelt signs are on. So you can see here this particular section gives an idea about your lightings and your in cockpit controls. You can see, I don't know, I'm sorry guys if I forgot to select anything, but let's see. Turn on your APU, and okay, that's off. Okay, on. I hope I'm doing it right, but yeah, that's how I've just switched on my APU, and I think, yeah, okay, let's just not. I'm sorry guys, I'm just explaining what I know about this game, so if anything is not right, please do let me know. And then I'm just gonna select my strobe lights are off. I'm just making strobe auto. Runway lights not needed right now. Beacons can be on. Okay, wings on. Probably it's daytime, so let's wings off. Navigation off. Taxi to nose is also off. Seatbelt signs on. No smoking on. This is I see another couple of options which I'm not sure about what is it, but yeah, I think we are good at this stage right now. Control E. So the moment you press Control E, you can see here the engines have been started. The engines are up and running. You can see the initial thrust building up. And at this point of time, if I just go to my camera, I'm sorry, I go to external, and I can, if I show it to you, you can see here my left engine has started first, and I think shortly, there you go, my right engine is also up now. So if I go back to my cockpit, you can see here my left engine is on the below and my right engine is on the top, and it's going to be on the initial normal thrust. And also guys, you have a couple of other options down here which I'll be showing you in some time in terms of your ground control. Right, so if I go down here and I go to my ATC, and if I select on request IFR clearance, right? So before I do that, I just want to tell you this is what the basic setup looks about, right? You just need to wait for some time till your engines are up and running. So right now, see, the 407 is a mark with the left engine, and assuming that your right engine also needs to come to 407. So let's just wait for that. This is your left, right, and I think, yeah, left and right. 58.1, 58.1, 165, 165 kg per hour. That's the fuel consumption, I understand. Landing gears are down, that's why you see the 3 green lights down. And I think, yep, both your left and right engines are good. The ratings are fine, I would say. I think the ratings are coming in stable, 19.5 and 407. So I think we are good. So no much changes I observed there. The below screen gives you the fuel data. So you have some 4704 on both and 4708 on both the wings, and then you got 608 on the another compartment, which I think should be sufficient for this trip. But guys, as I said, it is purely out of my previous experience. I'm flying this aircraft, but definitely when you're doing your particular journey at a longer distance, you need to be careful about the fuel consumption. If you're doing a pretty long journey, then you need to calculate your fuel and then request from the ATC for appropriate fuel. So for my journey, I think this fuel should be good, right? So I just go to my control tower and I'm just going to take my first IFR clearance from the tower. So I'm just going to click here, right? So for some reason,
clearance delivery Airbus 222 IFR to Chennai, ready to copy.
There you go. So
Airbus 222 is cleared to Chennai Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 27 right, climb and maintain 9,000 feet. Departure frequency is 118.9 squawk 5175.
Alright, so what I'm gonna do is, as you can see here, I have already requested for my IFR clearance.
Airbus 222, please acknowledge.
Right, so I'm gonna acknowledge.
Airbus 222 cleared to Chennai Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 27 right, climb and maintain 9,000 feet. Departure on 118.9 squawk 5175.
Airbus 222, read back correct. Contact ground on 121.65.
Perfect. So now I've got the clearance. So I have got the clearance to take off from 27 right runway, climb and maintain initially at 9,000 feet. Departure frequency is 118.9 squawk 5157. So these radio controls are automatically adjusted. You can see your squawk being updated here, right? And you're departing at 118.9 radio frequency. So there I think we are good. If I'm selecting the different frequencies, I'm going with the frequency 1 and right. So you can see here when I select the different frequencies down here, the active frequency is getting changed, right? So now what I'm gonna do is, before I do any more
further changes, I'm gonna just ground Airbus 222 with Kilo ready to taxi IFR.
I'm sorry.
Airbus 222 taxi to and hold short of runway 27 right via taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 123.675 when ready.
Okay guys, so
Taxiing
that
hold
was
short
by
runway
accident.
27 right using taxiway Alpha Airbus 222.
I think that was by an accident. I selected the taxi clearance, but yeah, anyways, we got the taxi clearance, so that's fine. But before we move away from our standing position towards the taxiing position, let's just quickly adjust the data what the team has given. So you can see the takeoff 27 right is fine, departure and maintain 9,000 feet. So what I'm gonna do is, this is my option, so I'm just gonna minimize my ATC for now, and I'm just gonna select control through. Altitude 9,000, so you just have to come and circle this knob towards your right. Sorry, yeah, so this is 9,000 feet. I'm just gonna select my speed to 250. I know it's little more, but yeah, let's stick on to 250, and I think we will cruise again for some time at 250, so 250 should be an ideal speed. So I'm just rotating this knob by selecting and just clicking my left button on the mouse, and let's stick till 250 probably, and this is something which I will be only cruising at once I switch on to my auto throttle mode. Right, so guys, we are good. Flight directions, we will turn it on once we are in cruise position or once we take off. I think rest everything should be the same as that. Nothing else to be changed at the moment. We are good. So now, before we move away from our position, we need to check a couple of things again. So right now, if I go down, my parking brakes are engaged. So I need to make sure my parking brakes are released before I go for the ATC, requesting the ground clearance for, ground service for pushback, right? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna quickly come down, and I'm just gonna release the brakes, right? And I'm gonna adjust my flaps right now. I mean, not right now, but maybe before I get, or before before the moment I request for the takeoff. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but usually you need to give a 70% flap at the beginning for the takeoff, and similarly 70 to 75% of flaps while landing. So nothing, you just have to click on this flaps, and you just have to make it which position you wanted. I'm gonna do it at position 3, right? So the flaps actually helps you to elevate your aircraft, and if you got a shorter runway, then you need to have a full flaps. Longer runway, then you can use a medium flap. It works like that. So I'm just gonna select a position 2 flap at this point of time, and I'm just gonna selecting it right away so that I don't forget it later. Alright, so I think we are done with our basic controls, and our parking brakes are released. We have set our altitude as per the ATC, which is 9,000, and I have selected my speed range of 250 knots, which should be good. And I think rest everything looks fine. And here comes the next best part. So what